What's going on, everybody? Today is Procharger Day. That's right. If you've been following along, we've been working on the OBS. We've pretty well been in thrash mode. Seems to be just how it is around here lately, which is a good thing. So what we've been doing, we've been trying to get the OBS ready. We're going to try to debut it out at Battle in Bama. I don't think it's going to be completely done, but we're going to be really close. Hopefully good enough that we can at least show off what we've done so far. So we've got all the body work done. We've got it painted. We've got the flames laid out. We hand striped everything. We've got our Apex carpet in, which we've did a leather binding on, which is their leather. We've got our seats done now. Our rag top is here, so we're ready to install that, which that'll be a fun one. Our one-off set of wheels are being cut right now. Just a whole lot happening, super exciting. I know you guys have been following along with this, and the OBSs are just so popular between this one and the other OBS we're building. Just getting a ton of views all across the board. Our Instagram and Facebook just by themselves, we've been averaging 3 to 4 million views a month. So that's awesome. We really appreciate the support, and we're trying to grow the YouTube right along with it, so we're going to try to keep bringing this along. If you're just getting with us, we've got all of our links below. We've got shirts over on the website. Our Maverick shirts are all restocked, and we've got a shirt coming on the OBS as well, so should be a lot of fun. And if you're going to get out and come to Battle in Bama, we're going to be over in Apex Leather's booth, so just come by, say hello, we'll chat. Should be a lot of fun. So here's what we're doing today. That's right, I said Procharger, but it's kind of without the Procharger. So here's what we're doing. I'm not saying that we're not going to Procharge it because I'm looking in this shop right now out of about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. 4 of them in here have a Procharger on it. So that's how much I do like Procharger. Super efficient boost. I think it's the best bang for the buck when you're trying to make boost. So definitely check those guys out. My personal car even has it on it. I love it. Love it, love it. So, but here's what we're doing with this. With this OBS, the accessory drive on the LS1 that's on there now, it is from Street Performance. That was a company out in Arkansas. We used to use those guys all the time. I think the owner passed away some years ago, and then the business closed. That guy was super knowledgeable. You could call over there, just tell him what you had, and he was one of those guys that I know exactly what you need. You could call over there and not have a clue what you were talking about, and that guy could figure it out. So I hate they're not around anymore. But with their accessory drive that's on there, it looks really cool, but it's very wide. That was the only, I guess, kind of issue that I ever had with them was how wide they sat. Now, since we do engine panels and stuff, we kind of need a more compact accessory drive. So we're going to get rid of that accessory drive today, and we've got an accessory drive from Procharger for the LS, which is also on some of these other ones in here. So we're going to start tearing apart the front end of this LS. We're going to get it cleaned up, and then we're going to get the Procharger accessory drive on there. So hopefully we can build some engine panels. I don't quite know that we're going to get there before we're going to have it out at the show, but we're going to see. If we don't, you know, we'll pop the hood and show the accessory drive and build some engine panels later, I guess. But anyway, let's check out what we have. So this is our new accessory drive for the OBS. This is Procharger's accessory drive. Like I said, we've got a few cars in here with a Procharger on it, and all of them have this accessory drive. Typically, when we run an LS, this would be the accessory drive we would use. Never had any fitment issues out of this, ever. Always bolts right up. The finish is super nice. You can get it in polish, which we've opted for. We're going to be using our AC pump, which is chrome, our alternator, which is chrome, and our power steering pump. But what we have in this kit is everything you need to swap your accessory drive out or add a new accessory drive to maybe your new LS crate engine. So we get the crank pulley, the belts, all the hardware. We get the power steering mounting and a new pulley. Pulleys are super cool. Check those out. Then we've got a new water pump. Now with this one, I was going to send this out and have it polished. I don't have time to do that. The one we have on there is already polished. We know there's no overheating. So for now, we're going to leave that water pump on there. We're going to send this one out to be polished and swap it out later. I would highly recommend, though, that if you're doing this swap, go ahead and put a new water pump on it. You're already in there. You're already doing it. We're just under a crunch, and I want the polished, so we don't have time to send this out and get it back. We have the AC mounting All that's super nice. Water pump pulley, alternator mounting. So everything we need, including the instructions step by step to how to get through it. So another reason we're swapping this accessory drive out too is that one is squealing and chewing up belts like crazy. We've already been under the hood doing some work, getting the LS running right. We've done a lot under there already, and we can't seem to get it to stop chewing up the belts. Can't really find a reason why. So as opposed to continue spending hours working on that, trying to get it right, it's easy enough just to swap out a kit for what we know works and is a really good one, and then we don't have anything to worry about. Also, with tightening that up, like we talked about, we're going to be able to have more options for engine paneling, and it'll allow us to get those metal panels up closer to the engine to kind of encase that, which I think looks a lot better. So I think the next thing for us to do is gather up some tools. We'll start yanking off the accessory drive that's on there now. There's been a couple of leaks, which we've already kind of sorted out, so we need to clean up where those leaks were and just kind of dial it in under there, and then we'll start adding all of our new Procharger parts. Also, if you want to run this on your LS, the part number, Procharger's part number is 1LS300. And as far as the price and everything goes for this, if you look at accessory drives now, this is hard to beat. Not only is it going to work really well, it doesn't break the bank, and it looks bitchin'. So let's see if we can't get that one off. Start trying to get this one on there. All right, let's go. So we're ready to take our power steering pump off, but there's a bolt on these Type 2 pumps that's right behind the pulley. So we need to get the pulley off before we can access that bolt. So I've got the puller on it already. We should be able to pop this thing right off of here. There we go. Nope, it wasn't. So now that we've got the engine compartment all cleaned up, we're ready to get the stock crank pulley off of there. We do have to run a different pulley on this. We're running the ATI Super Damper. We got to put this thing together. Comes with the hub, dampener, the pulley for the accessory. So we won't spend too much time on this, but this is something that in the instructions it notes what part number you need to get to pick it up to run the right one. So the only thing we need to look at is there is a little dot right there. So that dot is an offset hole. And if we look at the hub, we also have one with a dot. So we need to line those up. Just a nice tight press fit. Yep. So with these short threaded bolts, they're going to be on each end of the 3 sets of holes. Because the end holes are threaded for the short ones, but the center holes pass all the way through, and that's what will bolt into our accessory pulley. So the other thing to definitely note, as opposed to just tightening this thing together, these are Torx, but they're not a standard Torx. These are a Torx Plus, so you have to get a T40 Plus bit. So in our Vim toolkits over there, we do have what we need. So here's the difference. This one, if we can focus in on it, is a regular Torx bit. You can see kind of pointy. This is a Torx Plus. A lot more flat on all the edges, and that's the difference in those. So if we were to use a regular one, more than likely would strip it out. And these do have to be Torx, so I'm not cranking down on these with the impact. I'm just going to run them down snug. Alright, so now to install the crank pulley. So if you look at it, it actually says engine side. We know that's going to be our engine side. Alright, so now that we've got the pulley lined up, we've got 3 bolts that are going to go through that. We're going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these, and then we're going to torque these down to spec. So now that we've got our balancer put together, all that's ready to go on. What we're going to do now is remove the old crank pulley. I've got the truck already up on the lift. I've removed the single bolt from the pulley itself. Had Carter hold the flex plate. We were able just to get that bolt right out of there. Now what we need to do is actually pull that pulley off of there. So one thing I was going to talk about, I know a lot of you guys that watch this stuff, you know, you work on cars, you already know what to do. You know there's a lot of different types of pullers out there, and we've showed a ton of them on television through the years and all that, but what I wanted to do was show you how inexpensive this can be. So if you're looking for a puller, this is one right here. This one came from Amazon. You can go to your local parts store. They will have a puller for an LS crank pulley. You can rent that. You can go pull it off, you can take it back, but I always like to have the stuff around the shop. So what I did was I went over to Amazon and I wanted to buy one just to show you guys. So this is roughly a $20 pulley. What this does, it grabs on to the pulley. Once you tighten this bolt, this presses against the crank and it's going to pull that pulley off. Let me show you real quick. So this is our crank pulley. This is our crank right here. You can see a little hole in it. So these little legs and these kickoffs are going to go behind and grab these flat points there. So we're going to put this up there. We're going to give it a twist. Now we're behind those legs. We're going to hand tighten this down, and now we're locked on to that crank pulley. So when we go and we turn this bolt now, what that's going to do is press against the crank. It's going to start to pull that pulley off of it. Then we can install our new pulley. So instead of renting one, having to take it back or go buy some expensive one, because there are some really expensive ones out there. So like I said, this one was roughly 20 bucks, not a lot at all. Ordered it in the morning, had it the next day. And also I went ahead, we have an installer here, but I got another installer as well just to show you a new one. I think it was like 14 bucks. So altogether you can have 30, 35 bucks and having everything you need to remove and install a crank pulley, not have to worry about taking it back, and you can throw it on the shelf, have it the next time you need it. So now what we're going to do is tighten this down. We're going to see if we can pull this pulley. Let's pull this pulley off with the pulley puller tool. So easy. Okay, one other thing to keep in mind, that if you're looking for a puller, or maybe you're going to rent one from your local parts store or anything like that, one thing you have to keep in mind is this is a very short one, and it's the reason I was going to show you guys this one. Is some of them are actually long enough that you have to remove the radiator to be able to have enough room to get the crank pulley off with how long your pulling tool is. So just keep that in mind. These, I feel like, are the most simple ones you could possibly get. It's the shortest one, and you don't have to remove anything else to be able to get it off of there. So easy enough. We got that thing off in just a matter of seconds, so we'll hang that up on the shelf for the next one. So now we're just going to get all this cleaned up before we start installing any new parts. I painted that with it on. That kind of sucks, but you won't see it. Okay, so what we're doing now is we've got the crank pulley all done, and this is our power steering pump bracket that we've set up there right now. So the deal is there's not a hole going through our block where this top bolt goes in on the power steering bracket. So what we've got to do is we've got to put in the bottom bolt, get it tight, get it positioned where it's going to be. We're going to make a mark through this hole, and then we've got to drill and tap the block. All right, so we've got it positioned, we've got it tight, got it as far over as it can go. Okay, so now we've got that drilled out. We went pretty much the length of the bolt, which the length of the bolt is a little more than what we need because we've got the thickness of the bracket as well. So what we've got to do now is tap this out to an M10. All right, so we've got our 110, 1.5. I'm gonna put a little bit of the can cut oil on it. Keep it good and lubed up. We're drilled and tapped. Let's do a quick little test fit. Make sure everything's happy. Alright, so now we're going to get it back off, go get the pump on it. Alright, so I ran into a bit of an issue that I either have never ran into before or just totally forgot about it. We obviously do a ton of this, ton of accessory drive swaps, all this stuff right here. We do it every day. So I went to press on that power steering pump pulley from Procharger. I noticed it was a little tight on our Type 2 pump. So I pulled a measurement on the pump shaft and I pulled a measurement on the new power steering pulley, and I was getting two totally different sizes. 3/4 on the shaft on this one, and I was getting 5/8 on the pulley. So I measured the old pulley that came off here, same thing, 3/4. So that's a pretty big difference. So ended up having another pump laying around, pulled a measurement on it, and it's 5/8. So this is the one that we need. I did not realize that these pumps came in two different size shafts, or totally forgot about it. Now we've got the power steering finished up. We've got all that squared away. I got the fittings, the hoses, everything there is ready to go. What we would move on to next would be mounting the alternator and then hopping over to the AC compressor, but I've changed my mind on something. In the beginning of this, I was talking about this water pump's already polished and I'd like to keep it, but I did say, it's like, if you're doing this, go ahead and change your water pump. But there was a reason I wasn't going to change this one. And, you know, after sleeping on it for a night or two, I can't do it. I want to change it. I think we're already here. We've already torn everything down. I know how my luck would be if yours is anything like mine. I won't change it just to keep it polished, and then a water pump will go out in a couple of days, and then you have to tear the whole thing back down. So With running Procharger's accessory drive, we always run the water pump that they send us, and we've never had an issue out of any of them, even the ones that we've been running for a long time now. Never any issues at all. So I feel like it's just the best bet that we go ahead and swap the water pump. Even though this one is already polished, I don't have time to send that one out and get it polished. But we do have a couple little black accessories here or there, so I think it's going to look good. Plus on their kit, their pulleys are all black. So I think it's going to be totally fine. But what I'm going to do now is go ahead, get this water pump off. We'll get the new water pump on there, and then we'll move on to the alternator and the AC compressor and stuff. I do have the AC compressor that we need. I do not have the alternator yet. This kit specifically uses an 07 through 13 GM truck alternator, and I don't have one of those here. So I'm talking with Power Master right now about trying to get one here as quick as we can. So we're gonna hop around and do everything else, and the alternator may be the last thing that we do. That's okay. We're gonna keep on trucking. So I'm gonna get the hoses off. I'm gonna get the water pump off of here, and we should be able to put the new one on and start adding more parts. I've got all the bolts out, so it's just from having to take off the accessory drive. So it's ready to come off of there. I may have to stick a bolt back in it just so I can disconnect these hoses. I love these radiator hose picks. Vim Tools has a couple. They've got one that's really long. I have over there on the table too. You have one of these stubborn hoses that's been on there a long time and you're trying to break it loose and can't get it. You pop this in there, just wiggle it around, it'll pop it free every time. Now, should be ready for the water pump to come off. Okay, so now that we've got that water pump off of there, we've got to clean up our gasket area before the new one goes on. So we're going to install their crank pulley, just a little red Loctite, 3 bolts. All right, so smear just a little bit of gasket maker on this side of it, not to seal it. Our seals are right here. That's what's going to make the seal, but this is going to hold it in place for us, where we don't have to hold it while we're putting it on. So on our water pump, we got our thermostat housing swapped over. We got the steam port drilled and tapped into this pump. That's how they had the other one, so we went ahead and just did that the same way. Just drilled and tapped that out. Heater hose, all that's ready to go. We may, I'm not sure yet, I haven't gotten that far, but we may end up having to utilize maybe 1 or 2 of these holes with some of the other brackets. I'm not sure, but we're going to go ahead and put all the bolts in. If we end up having to do that, we can remove one. Won't be a big deal. So the upper hose, we're going to build a new one out of aluminum tube. That way that'll look a lot better up top. Once we engine panel it, that'll kind of all play together. Down low, we're going to go ahead and hook up the heater hoses and the lower radiator hose, because we're just going to leave those. You're not really going to be able to see them. Water pump's done. So we got the crank pulley all finished up down there. That's done. Water pump's finished up. That's looking good. We've got the power steering all finished up. We've got the fittings we needed. The lines are hooked up. So all that's done now. Already did bolt on one part of the alternator bracket. So this is where the alternator is going to go. That just bolts straight into the head right there. So nothing complicated. Once we get the alternator in, I'll show you that bracket going together. Now I think we can go ahead and do the AC part over here. So it's pretty simple as well. It's just one big bracket that holds the pump, and I'll show you what I had to do to reconfigure some of these AC lines to make those work. Before we get to that though, we can go ahead and bolt on the water pump pulley. I'm not gonna lie, I may have forgotten about that until I walked over to the table to show you the AC stuff and went, hey, looky there. Here's the water pump pulley. That might need to go on. Here's our AC pump. This is the bracket. So this is one full bracket that this AC pump bolts to. You don't have to do anything else with that besides sit it in here, run the 2 bolts in. Also has the tensioner on it. So everything's pretty well set up, ready to go. We got 3 bolts that's gonna bolt us in. We've got our Procharger cover already on it right there. Looks super nice, all the polished stuff. So what I ended up having to do, and I'll show you more when we get over to the truck, I had to modify the AC. So what I had to do with this is the other pump, they came out of the rear. The only thing I had sitting around here that we could use for now, these are from Vintage Air, they both kicked out of the rear, and the AC lines would not reach that. So this rear one ended up cutting it at the base. I flipped it and I TIG welded that on, and then we were able to position that to bolt in one line. This other one was okay. We just had to remake the end on the line to make it curl around and bolt into that. So not a big deal, but I went ahead and got that all squared away, so we should be good on our AC. All right, so this is the line we modified. So this was the line that was on it. This end, we just cut it off and changed the fitting. Final piece is finally here. We've got our alternator. So this is our Power Master alternator. Just showed up today. Cannot wait to check this thing out. I've used a lot of the Power Master stuff over the years. Really like it. That's what's on the my black Mustang. So it's got their alternator on it, which, man, I built that car so many years ago. It's held up great. Like these guys, their parts, never had any issues out of anything. What we did on this one was we obviously went with the polish unit, which is super nice. Check that out. So that's really going to add to everything we've got going right now. The other thing we did, and one reason I was kind of glad to go to a different alternator anyway, is we went with the 245 amp. Since we're running the MTX sound system, we're going to need that extra power. And this is their 1-wire setup. So we do have an exciter wire on the truck now, but we're going to do away with that. We're just going to ground this. We're going to run with a 1-wire. I like the simplicity of that, but man, that thing looks good. So we already have this bracket on. This is part of the alternator bracket. We installed that earlier. The first thing we need to do is we need to remove these 2 water pump bolts. All right, so here's our front bracket. We've got a spacer right here, 2 M8 bolts. This goes back into the place where the bolts came out of the water pump. We're just gonna loosely put those in there, and then we're gonna see if we can snake that alternator in with another couple of spacers. Okay, so I've got another spacer in behind the alternator. See if we can get this bolt through it and the spacer. So there's 2 spacers, the one I already just put in with that bolt. So this is what those look like. All right, now we've got the alternator done. I went ahead made this cooling tube, so got rid of that big rubber radiator hose running through there. Nothing special about this, so I just skipped through it. It's just 2 bends, 1 straight, TIG welded together using a couple of pieces of radiator hose clamps. Pretty much a straight shot over there, so nothing too crazy. What we want to do now is get the belts on. Once we get the belts on, we can top everything off with fluid, and then everything should be good to go. We're definitely going to have to get rid of this hot box right here. These things, all they do is suck in hot air. They're not the greatest for performance. We're not necessarily worried about that, so we're going to leave it alone for now. The only thing I'm looking at that we could potentially have a problem with would be if the belt were to come up and get into it. I don't believe it will because it's coming off of this water pump pulley, so it should be passing that. All right, so we're ready to fire it up. We're gonna get it turned over. We're gonna check for leaks. We got the power steering topped off. We got it bled. We got the radiator full. We should be good to go. So let's turn it over, see what happens. Hasn't been started in a while. Sounds good, no squeals. Don't see any leaks. It runs smooth. Oh, we're all finished up. Runs good, no leaks, sounds great. Check this out. All right, so if you look in here now, check out how much we were able to tighten up that accessory drive. If you go back to the beginning of the video, the alternator before was nearly touching the inner fender. Same thing with the AC pump over here. So you can see how much we really tightened that up, because the plan is we're gonna come in, we're gonna do some engine panels, we're gonna come from the firewall, and basically we're just gonna enclose the engine. So now we'll be able to do these panels where they're wrapping tight up against the accessory drive, coming around through here. We're gonna build a different cold air intake, because all this thing really does is just suck in hot air, but that's okay for right now. The aluminum tube radiator hose turned out really nice. Now, if you guys wanna see one of those, I'm happy to do a how-to on that, but if you head over to my Instagram or Facebook page, I did film it for those over there, so you can see that piece come together, but couldn't be happier with how all that turned out. The power stop alternator looks really nice. You can see down low, we've got the power steering pump, all that's good to go. We've got the water pump from Procharger, all their polished brackets in there look super nice with all the tensioners. And then of course we've got all their covers on there. So the next thing for this may be a Procharger. I'm thinking about it. We've got the room for it. We'll have to run an intercooler and all that. One thing I do want to kind of finish up is that grill on the single cab OBS. I want to get a couple of those done so I can put one of those in here, because obviously I want to display that if we do produce any of those. We'll make this one a little different, because the one on the single cab over there, that's going to stay kind of a one-off piece. So we'll change up a little bit of the design to put it on this truck. But I'd be really excited to get that on here, get some of these engine panels done. That'll look great. And if you're seeing this video and you went to Battle in Bama, you've already seen the truck. So this is a little bit behind. We had to wait on a couple of parts. And then we got in just a mad crunch to actually make it to Battle in Bama on time. So it got tight there for a minute, but we made it. We got there. We had a ton of fun. Truck took the Fab 4 award, I believe. Pretty sure that's what it was. I wasn't there to get it. I normally don't even have them judged. Not really too worried about any of that kind of stuff, but we were getting a really good feedback at the show, and the guys came around and they judged it. And hey, we took home a nice piece of hardware, so that's awesome. But truck turned out really nice. Check out the Procharger accessory drives if you're looking for an accessory drive. We've got that little Toyota sitting right there. That LS is going in it. I think it needs a Procharger accessory drive. It's still got the factory stuff on it. So I don't know. We'll have to talk about that and see if we can do one on there too. But if you're looking for one, that's definitely the route I would go. We've used a few through the years, obviously doing all this, but like I said, almost every one of them has a Procharger accessory drive on it. So I've gotten, you find something that you really like, you tend to stick with it. Plus, when we build these engine panels now, I like how compact that accessory drive is. So looks really cool. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the support. You guys have been so nice to us. Channel is steadily growing. T-shirts are flying out the door, so that's really awesome. If you check the description below, we've got the link for our t-shirts there. We've got some Maverick shirts, we've got some Superbird shirts, we've got some of the Charger shirts that's sitting over here, but we also now have the Crew SLED shirts. The ones we have now are a front print only. We're working on getting the back print shirts done right now, but we do have those over there. They should be, I believe, live on the site, so you can go check those out. Pick yourself one up, buy one for a buddy or something, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere at a show with Crew SLED. The next one coming up, I'm hoping, it's a lot of editing in it, is that interior video we did and the full sound system build where we had Joey from Outlaw Garage come in here. We worked with MTX and Apex Leather and did the full-blown interior thrash in 1 week, and it all came together, and we got out of here and made it to Battle in Bama. So I know that Clay that's doing that one for us is working on editing that, and it's a big one to put together, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that maybe that one's next up coming down the line. But anyway, you guys have fun. Go work on something cool. See you next time.